Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to this. What is it? The seventh of October. It's one of those times. 8th of October. Sorry about that. With this hurricane coming, it all runs together as we all here in Highlands County prepare for um, this melting to come pouring in here. So, with that, we still got the financial stuff happening around the world, even though we're preparing for a hurricane. So, we're going to look at that this morning when Dave joins us here in just a few seconds. And before we do that, though, let's not forget that this world we live in, there are so many things out of our control, like this hurricane coming right at us right now, not in our control. However, you can take control of your investment portfolio by knowing the amount of risk you have and making sure it lines up with the amount of risk you should have in your current portfolio. That's why I developed the core retirement design to help you design that retirement you always dreamed of. Give us a call at 863 382 0037. We will be closing today at noon, but hey, we'll be there until then. Guys, we got Dave coming up next.
5.7 Light FM. That's the ever manly George Michael and Wham. We're at 8:42 here. Now it's 19 before 9.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.
Put that all together, it basically means we know what we're talking about, but don't turn your life upside down based on a radio show. It is time to check in and find out what's going on in the markets this morning, along with my friend Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Are you all hunkered down, Phillip? Got all the boards up and everything ready to go for the hurricane?
Well, I'm not going to say I got boards up, but and we're working this morning, so we're here till lunchtime today, and then we are out until we figure out what this thing does and when we get some power back on, because I have a feeling we are going to be without power for sure.
And I was going to say, you live out of country club, and I know that has a tendency to be an area that waits a little while for the power to come back. So you'll be in my thoughts and prayers during the time this thing comes through, and I'm still crossing my fingers. The 8 a.m. track update left it where it was at 5, which still has it going through northern Polk County and then out the Atlantic. So if it doesn't turn into too wide a storm, we may just be able to live with tropical storm force winds through the day on Thursday. But prayers are out for absolutely everybody. Please be safe. And I've been telling everybody, if you live in an older mobile home, for crying out loud, get to some place where there's block, because it's not going to be a fun time for places like that, is it?
No, it's not, Dave. It's not going to be fun at all. There's some strong winds coming. This may be one of the strongest ones that we've seen. I mean, even Charlie may not live up to the winds I'm seeing projected, at least out of Fox 13 this morning.
I'm sincerely hoping that ends up being wrong, but for what it's worth, we're going to be here 24/7 on the radio talking about what's going on and keeping everybody in the loop. On to what we're supposed to be talking about this morning, and that's the markets. Yesterday was an off day on Wall Street, and it bordered on precipitous. I mean, the Dow was down the better part of 1%, down 399 points. Standard & Poor's was off 55. NASDAQ tanked down 214 points yesterday, and the commodities weren't a whole heck of a lot better. What the Sam Hill was going on? Oh, we did manage to downgrade 2 of the major stocks in the bunch, but beyond that, I didn't see any major news other than just worried about the Middle East.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, preparing for the hurricane. I haven't seen anything that really gave any indication to move the needle like we're seeing. Other than Dave, I keep saying this, and we're coming off of some all-time highs, and so that weighs on traders. When they're trying to make what's the next best thing, they're trying to figure out who's going to excel in our current economy, because it may not be the same people that excelled during the third quarter.
Well, plus I was also looking at something, and I mentioned this yesterday. One of the major brokerage columnists, talking heads, was talking about how the S&P is at this point in time valuation in terms of a return on equity up to be dang near as high a ratio as it was right before the 29 crash. And I think that little tidbit might have spooked some investors, because I've been talking about the price-earnings ratio being up there. I think the price-earnings ratio trailing on the S&P right now is up in the 35 range, and that's the kind of number I expect to find in the more adventurous NASDAQ exchange. We are overpriced right now, and it's going to take some improvements on margins and some improvements on profits before we're going to be able to get back down into a range where I feel real comfortable with the valuations we're at right now.
Well, that's true, Dave. We are seeing valuations that are extremely high. And so I think, again, that continues to put weight on the overall indexes because of that indication that markets are high. And so are they going to be able to justify the price? And that's a big question, especially as we start to see some earnings come in for this quarter.
Yeah, and the projected earnings for the next quarter's reports that start really in earnest probably on Friday. Projected earnings growth, we're only talking about 4.5% median earnings growth on the S&P, and that's not going to do a lot to chip away at that trailing price earnings ratio that's so out of sight.
No, it's really not, Dave. It's going to, a matter of fact, that's going to continue to kind of exasperate that. So, I think that we have. We're just in this weird time period right now where we don't really know what the economy is doing. The numbers that corporates profits are coming in are questionable, and so we'll see what those do this quarter to see if by chance we can get through this quarter unscathed. Then we may be able to start 2025 in a good spot.
And that would be a nice thought. The only other negative influence that I saw on the market from yesterday anyway is that mentioned in the morning that Apple got downgraded by Jefferies, sending it into the week at a low note. It finished Monday 2.3% off, and that on the price-weighted ratios would make a bit of a difference. And then they turned around yesterday and they downgraded Amazon at Wells Fargo, saying that the company's cloud business wasn't making up for the challenges in the other business units at Amazon. Those are two big companies, and I kind of could explain some of the decrease in the Dow and the NASDAQ as both of those two indexes are price-weighted, but it was just not a good day overall. And we're starting out kind of sitting on our hands wondering what earnings season is going to bring this week. It's starting in earnest if I get it on Friday when the big financials start. That's when we really get the flood. Delta, I think, reports tomorrow. And we start out with Pepsi this morning, I gather.
We do. Pepsi reported yesterday after the market closed, and they did okay on earnings by a little bit, beat by 2 cents a share at $2.31. However, they missed on revenue by a little bit, and so that's got them under a little pressure this morning, down not quite 0.7% this morning before we get going. I'm going to tell you, the big mover this morning seems to be DocuSign. DocuSign, not that they've reported earnings, because that's really PepsiCo's only earnings we've seen, but we are seeing that they are going to be moved into the S&P 500 Mid-Cap 400 Index on Friday. They're going to replace a company called MDU Resources. Not sure what they do, but DocuSign is going to move into that spot. And so that's going to really position them well. People are, index funds and stuff are going to have to buy them on Friday to match the index. And so we've got them trading up a little over 6.5% this morning.
That's a good sign. I didn't see what happened to Honeywell, but I saw a note that they were being added into the Dow 30. I don't know who they're replacing, but there's some index changes that we're going to be watching over the next week or so that could make life modestly interesting. Rest of the week, it's going to be very eventful, not just weather-wise around here, because we're going to get a couple of inflation reports as well on Thursday and Friday. We got the CPI update on Thursday, and then the producer price index on Friday, if I've got my order properly of things. And as I said, with a couple, 3 early runs like Pepsi, then we start really getting the flood of earnings information in on Friday. We've got a busy week, and this is actually kind of the last quiet day of the week on Wall Street ahead of us.
Yeah, it is. As we It may be quiet for all of us come tomorrow or come Thursday anyway.
You think we aren't going to have any internet, huh?
We may not have any power anyway. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to have internet, just no power. That's my concern heading in. But hey, you know what? The market's going to keep going no matter what happens here in Florida.
Absolutely. Let's reset the table and see what's happening this morning. Yesterday was an off day on all the major indexes. 45 minutes before we open this morning, I'm seeing a little bit of green anyway. How is the recovery going 45 minutes early?
So we do have some green ink. It's down a little bit from where it was earlier this morning. The Dow's up about 0.1%. S&P 500 is up about 1/3%, as well as the NASDAQ 100 up 1/3%. So not too bad on that front. See, my commodities number is not popping up. Let me go back over here to this other screen. So we've got silver down 1.8%. Gold is flat right now. And then we head into crude oil down 1.8% to $75.76 a barrel, which is, I guess, better than where it was. But man, I sure appreciated it when it was back down below 70.
Oh, yeah, all that concern over the oil markets out of the Middle East with the tensions between Iran and Israel, and then you add on the fact that China has suddenly discovered how to stimulate their economy. That's probably an upward trend that we're going to have to cope with for a few weeks. Speaking of the overseas markets, China's markets are open after 1 week off, and they picked up where they left off. One of the mainland Chinese indexes was up 9% at the close at 6 a.m. this morning. Most of the other Asian indexes were off by a tinge. Over in Europe, we're looking at a generally negative tinge, but nothing catastrophic. The FTSE over in the UK is off by almost 1%, and nope, one of the just rechecked. I'm a little over 1% down. Overall, the European markets are down by about 0.5% halfway through their trading day. Keeping a retirement plan going, regardless of what happens overseas, and weird days like yesterday, takes a pair of eyes that knows how to look at risk. How do I get your eyes to figure out how I can retire, Philip?
Devin, give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule a core retirement design, where we'll help them design the retirement they always dreamed of. Give us a call at 863-382-0037. Schedule your appointment. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m., 95.3 FM.
And tomorrow morning, we'll be here to update you as to what's going on Wall Street again here on Light FM. Philip, I do appreciate it. Stay safe, all right?
All right, buddy. You too. Talk to you tomorrow morning.
Take care, my friend. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler. It's not.
Folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Please, folks, be safe. Don't do anything crazy. Join us again tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.